Deepwell began as a shining star. 8 square miles of paradise filled with settlers from all over America. However, an infection soon set in. The Block family. You have to look past their smiles to see the evil buried deep inside. Rot. It spreads from their touch. It drains the soul of the land and robs people of hope. It's up to the devil himself. Now watch him work. Deepwell is 32 pages of full-color Western action and adventure, drenched in blood and violence. The Grey Devil is hunting down each and every member of the Block family, and we'd love to have you along for the ride. It's going to be epic. Back us today, and thanks so much for your support.
All right, we are live, and that was Deepwell, Caliber of Death trailer. That was really cool. Hey, Mike, how you going?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing really well. I'm doing really well, thank you. And we've got Smiling Bandito here as well. How you going, buddy?
Doing well. Hail and well met. Nice to meet you, Mike.
Good to meet you.
Yeah, this is the first time I'm meeting you too, Mike, isn't it? I don't think we've ever chatted together before.
Yeah, we've spoken online a few times maybe, but no, this is the first time chatting it up with you.
Yeah, on Twitter. Yeah, you've been around a long time, so I've been kind of watching you from the sidelines, and now we get to talk together and feel each other up a little bit and get to know each other just that little bit better. That's what I like to do.
In all the best ways.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We'll see where things go.
Exactly. That's how I like to do it. We'll see we'll see where the night takes us. We've got some people in the chat here. Devilfish, how you going? He's saying the world is going to hell. Well, yeah, bits of it are, unfortunately. But there's still the sane people out there, and they'll clean it all up like they always do. My wife is here. Hail, Melanie B. She spends too much time on social media. She needs to get off that because it's. Although I keep sending her videos to watch, so maybe I'm at fault there.
If hell is the destination, it's going to be quite the ride while we get there.
Exactly. Mo Biggs is here. Always great to see Mo. He says we're late and gay. Yeah, and I said always gay, never late. World's greatest game is here. There you go. It's not going to hell, but it's profitable to have you believe it is. See here, he's got like no gods or lawmen are going to. That's just on the page there. I'm gonna have to scroll down because it's confusing me. I think I'm reading a thing here. You know what I'll do? I'll just do this for the time being, and we'll come back to your look. We still get to see your art. It's all good. What else have we got here? Who else have we got? Anthony Perrone. Love to see you here, buddy. Cygnus 5. How you going? El Largo, hail, and hail the chat. All right, we're all hailed up. So, Mike, you just launched. A couple of days ago.
Yeah, I want to say the launch was late Wednesday or late Thursday of last week. It's been kind of a whirlwind, so I can't really remember. But yeah, it's going good so far, and I'm happy to finally have Deepwell out in the world. I love samurai and dinosaurs, and I love what we've got cooking up with God's Fear Me. But Deepwell is a book that has kind of been in my head for a long time now, and to see some of the images kind of like popping into reality is gratifying.
Well, what we like to do here on this show, like I alluded to earlier, is some people might not know who you are. I certainly I'm not too familiar with everything you've done. I know some of your books, but anyone can go onto your campaign page and scroll through and see what's going on there. But we've got you on the stream now, so we can talk to the man himself. Why don't you let some people know a little bit about your background with comic books and anything else that you think that people might want to know?
Yeah, we can run through some of that stuff. So My wife and I have founded Chibi Comics a little over 10 years ago, and we're kind of a freelance studio that over those 10 years kind of partially dabbled in comics, but kind of built our built our company on providing freelance work outside of comics. There was a little in comics. We would do color flats, we would do lettering, and help other people with pitches and proposals. But for the most part, we found ourselves in a position where we were working outside the industry. So it was about close to 2 years ago now. Comicsgate was really kind of getting rolling on the tracks, and we took a meeting with IDW, and without getting into a lot of the specifics of it, we found ourselves really disenfranchised. It had been a 10-year investment on our part, and it kind of all culminated with this really not great meeting. And that night, got home and was watching one of Ethan's early streams, and just had this moment of what are we doing? We keep trying to get into a party that doesn't want us in there, and I don't know that we even want to be in there anyway. So let's go hang out with these guys because they seem to be doing everything that we actually want to be doing.
Yeah, for anyone who isn't familiar, IDW started off, with a goal, I think, of being, putting out premium books. I guess it started out a bit like what some of people want Comicsgate to be, a thing like we're making the best possible books possible, that you could make, and then just gradually, as it always seems to happen, if you're not explicitly anti-SJW, the parasites will invade, they will take over, and they will devour you from the inside out. And it seems like that is what happened with IDW, because they are, they're as on board as you can get with the whole social justice agenda. And by that I just mean they're propagandists now.
For sure. And it's kind of disappointing to see because as you said, there is stuff in there that's incredible, like 30 Days of Night, Lock and Key, the early years of their Turtle run. There's really solid stuff
I checked out because I saw Lock and Key was on Netflix, and I'm like, this is a graphic novel. So I thought, okay, I'll check that out, and I wasn't expecting much, but it looked really good.
Yeah,
the graphic novel.
Yeah,
So
IDW. It's great.
Okay, how's the TV show?
Oh, it's awful.
I watched one episode. It was spooky. But for a first episode, it felt a bit kind of. Let's not talk about
my kiddo couldn't get into it. She tried watching Lock and Key, and she got about 4 episodes deep. And I was excited because I was just like, I like those whimsical childhood, coming of passage type storylines. And, this looked like right up that alley. And she was just like, Dad, don't watch it. Don't bother yourself.
Well, Cygnus 5 says you dodged a bullet there. All right, so we know what happened to IDW, and you just couldn't. I know exactly that feeling too. You're just sort of standing there saying, "There's these people here. They're out, and they're not apologizing for who they are, and they're finding success." So you just saw that and said, "Well, that's where I'm supposed to be, I guess."
Yeah, and so we. Within I think a month or two from that meeting, we were like, all right, let's just jump into the deep end. And we came out as Comicsgate, and it was rough at first. I mean, we lost basically all of our industry contacts. Everyone kind of blocked us on social media. There was no returning emails. We lost family, friends, which we had been close with for a decade plus. It was rough, but 2 years later, this is our 3rd campaign, and it's ultimately worth it because creatively and kind of mentally, it's more fulfilling, and I really do believe it's where we're meant to be.
Yeah, so right, you had the full on Comicsgate experience then.
Oh, it was great. It was great. Yeah.
Yeah, right. See, I didn't have anything like that. I'm not from the industry. I don't know anyone in the industry. So for me to say I'm Comicsgate, yeah, I tweeted Comicsgate something, and yeah, no one cared. No one
Right.
cared. No one was watching. They're like, oh, who are you? We don't care. But yeah, you had actual contacts and friends and colleagues, I suppose.
Yeah,
That's rough.
one of my favorite anecdotes from that whole period of our lives was Selena had several clients that she did work for, and one of them like kind of passively sent her a night letter, and Selena responded professionally, friendly, like this is a person been working for like 8+ years. And like Selena was basically like, yeah, we're Comicsgate, but like we're still the same people. Like I'm happy to keep producing work for you. And the person just wrote, well, we all do what we have to do to get by, and then completely cut her out of her life. It was crazy.
Ghosted.
Yeah.
Man,
Okay.
see. I hear all this stuff. We all know what happened with Ethan and John, and I mean, Zach was a little bit different because he wasn't in the industry, but he was still. I mean, he got
Right.
a lot of the lion's share of all that stuff. But I didn't know that about you. And yeah, it really brings it home. It is really real. There's people out there who are just so ensconced in this world, and they don't realize maybe they do believe it all, but they don't realize that they're being controlled. How do you just throw away a friendship?
People don't want to be happy anymore. You know,
yeah.
There's no clout in being happy. You know, you have to make sure that you have more advantages and more reasons for people to say, "Hey, I support you," and you can't be supported unless you're unhappy.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, the industry stuff, like the people that kind of shut us off in that route of our life, that was difficult. But like the hardest part was like, again, just friends, close family friends who, we're like, we get into it with them, and we're like, look, you're saying this stuff bothers you. We never have to talk about this stuff. It doesn't have to affect like our friendship here. Like we're family. Like what are you doing? And just like they could not concede, even tangentially being associated with Comicsgate to the point where they were okay with kicking us out of their lives.
They must have read the Wikipedia page.
Yeah, and not listen to a word that I said.
Yeah, I mean the argument's still going. Rob Arnold and Clayton Barton were there. Clayton Barton is huge on Facebook, and he's become Comicsgate, and he's got a massive following. He's got like 50,000 people over on Facebook. He's got 30,000 also subscribers on his YouTube, but they're more sort of like just art kind of people who are learning how to draw art and stuff. But on Facebook, apparently, it gets pretty heated, and there's the discussion is still ongoing.
Sure.
Is the whole kind of diversity, forced diversity thing, and I can't remember who it was now, but I saw a tweet, and it was a brilliant question, and it was because their argument was all alt-right, incel, fascist, misogynist comic skaters.
All of us?
Yeah, all of us. all you guys, you don't understand anything from pop culture. The comics have always been woke. The comics have always been diverse. You just didn't understand them. So it's not as though we're forcing diversity. It was always there. And some point out, like, yeah, that's what we've been saying. And if they were always diverse, then why this recent push?
Is it apart? Yeah.
Why does it have to be this new big thing now if they've always been woke and diverse? But of course, there's no logic to any of their arguments. So
right. And they also don't understand that good writers can tell a story using metaphors that allow for multiple interpretations. So you may think one thing about a story, but that doesn't mean that is concrete what the story represented, and everyone can come away with different interpretations. It's the whole X-Men thing about that Ethan always goes on about. Like it's not specifically about minorities, but it can be if that's how you choose to view it. It's about being an outsider. And when you reframe it like that, it's a story that appeals to everybody because everybody has felt like an outsider.
Exactly, and it's the same with Star Trek as well. Next Generation was, anyone can watch that stuff right now, and if you want to, you can look at it from the left, you can look at it from the right, and it all works.
Right.
And I was saying, like, if you want to get hard in the paint with the X-Men, and say no, absolutely, the X-Men, the mutants are supposed to, they're a direct analogy for, say, the oppressed minorities in the US.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go, okay, well, then who are the Brotherhood of Mutants?
Right.
What are they? Because then you're saying, okay, so then a bunch of them have kind of turned evil and are supremacists.
Right.
And, who would they be right now in current day society, who are like calling for segregation, for resegregation, and, being violent? And you don't want to go down that path,
Right. That's usually
that's
usually when you get blocked.
Exactly, because you don't like the answer.
Right.
It's like, it's so much better, just like what you said, like what Ethan said, just keep it vague. It's about people who've felt outsiders, and that way everyone can enjoy it and read it. It's the same with one of my favorite movies of all time is V for Vendetta.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter what ideology that the guys who took over England are. What matters is they were totalitarian, authoritarian, people who took over and pretty much control every aspect of your life. Now, we can see and have seen throughout history that can be any ideology, left, center, right, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why anyone can enjoy a movie like that. But I've gotten into arguments as well with people about that movie, saying you can only like that movie if you're an anarcho-communist or something.
Right. And now you have I can't remember which it is, if it's Lily or Lana, but you have one of the Wachowskis like doubling down and trying to sabotage their own legacy, like saying, like the Matrix is about this, it isn't about that. V for Vendetta is specifically about this. It's like, what are you doing? Like, are you trying to sabotage your career and your audience?
Yeah, they're pulling a J.K. Rowling.
Well, I'm pulling a J.K. Rowling, exactly. None of this is actually in the story or the movie, but now I'm saying it. And even though you do that, which is just a massive virtue signal, even though they do that, that's not going to stop them from coming after you, just as we've seen in the last week with J.K. Rowling.
Right.
What? She's not completely protected?
Have you not seen?
Oh, yes, I've seen. They're eating her from the ankles up.
Oh, yeah, man, it's crazy. And I think she's finally figured out to stand her ground, because it doesn't matter what she says. Once they've turned on you, that's it.
Right.
Yeah. I don't care, though, because like she turned on everyone a long time ago, and it's just like, well, who are your allies now, right?
Yeah, I was on Raging Golden Eagle's channel yesterday, and he's hard in the paint, man. He's like, I will dance the jig on the graves of my enemies who have wronged us.
Well, there's going to be a lot of these celebrities that find this in the next five years or so, and they're going to face a serious problem when they realize that they weren't siding with allies before. They were siding with people that were holding them hostage. If they didn't agree with them, if they didn't say what they wanted to say, then those aren't allies, right?
No,
and so they've been using this.
That's what Mike found out as well. They're not friends.
Yeah, they've been using this terminology and creating their own definitions for it, right? And they're quite liberal in doing so. Yeah.
Well, okay, so you that happened. You went off. Yeah. You had success with, I've just pulled it up here, Samurai and Dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm.
And what else did you do? You said you did another one?
The Gods Fear Me.
The Gods Fear Me. Let me pull that up.
Yeah. So we got done fulfilling Samurai and Dinosaurs a few months ago. We still have a leftovers campaign running I think we have like 20 copies left of the first printing. And yeah, we just wrapped up the Gods Fear Me in, I want to say April, and it's going to be fulfilling late August and September.
Nice.
And
Wow.
yeah, like we're aiming to do like 2 to 3 projects a year.
Excellent. Yeah. So I mean, this is what it's all about, isn't it? You guys are really kicking goals here, becoming a machine.
Yeah, I mean, like the reality is, if it was just me, if I was like the sole writer, artist, colorist, whatever, like I do believe in the whole thing of like you should have one project fulfilled before like you move on to the next. But I mean, and this has happened with like other writers and artists in CG. Like the truth is, like if I'm just the writer, if you want to see more from me than just like one project a year, like there's going to be a little bit of overlap. And thankfully, I think my audience is okay with that, especially after fulfilling Samurai and showing the progress that we have on God's Fear.
Yeah, you're like, I mean, I think you've earned your trust now. So this is, I think it's solidified that
Sure.
you're here, you're serious, and you fulfill. And
yeah, we're just we're knocking these out. Like I have a list of 10 projects, and I don't know what's going to come after those 10 projects, but like these are basically the 10 books that mean the most to me. And like that whole thing of like if you had X number of projects that you had to do with your life, what would they be? These are them. So like over the next 3 or 4 years, we'll work our way through them, and we'll see what we do after that.
this is the real Murphyverse right here.
Yeah, right.
Forget that other guy. I mean,
The better Murphy verse.
Yeah,
Thank you.
the good Murphyverse. That's
Well,
amazing.
this is what I think some, like, especially people who are writers, I think this is the future of what Comicsgate can offer, is that as you start to get a few books under you and a few series, you kind of start to move forward at a pace where, I mean, you could be offering a new book every month just because every 3 months it's the same title, right?
Right.
But every 2 or 3 months you're offering the next book in a different title. And I mean, people want that repetition. They want to be able to follow their favorite creators and their favorite titles and their favorite books and have more than just 1 or 2 a year.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah,
I think
like I know your boy said that he's aiming for like monthly campaigns, and like we're nowhere near that. Like I'm good with like one every 4 or 5 months,
the future
in
of
his
Comicsgate.
latest video, he was saying that how it might not be feasible, but when it comes to him, he kind of figures stuff out.
Right.
He does kind of speak just off the cuff, but he was talking about just how much goes into each of these campaigns, and it's mostly he was how he is with his numbers and everything. He was looking at how much the promotion does affect the end result, and you can't be out there putting out all these books, juggling all those balls, and he put up all the money for the Expendables.
Right. Yes.
So
Zach did? Really?
Yeah, that's what he said. He put up all the money for it. So that's why it's kind of his campaign. He fronted all the cash. So I mean, it really truly is his project. He's the executive producer of it all. But then he's like, we could have done better if he had have been out there.
That's what everyone said.
Really pumping it hard.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's I mean, with so many campaigns on the go at once, there's only so many hours in the day. So there is a kind of a ground there where we'll have to bring on some more people,
right,
to get that to going. Gothic Arch is here, and did I mention Felix Haas is here? I always need to mention Felix Haas. Thank you, buddy. Look at you in there, dropping links like a champ. And how Gothic Arch, as always. Frege is live. What's TTYL, guys?
Talk to you later.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Excellent. Well, Anthony, thanks for coming by. And big news, we have locked in Dan Frege.
Oh,
he will be on the show.
Nice.
He'll be on the show tomorrow.
That's
oh my
great.
God, it's happening. But not only will he be here, Will Perdomo will be here as well. who writes Black Flag. So we're going to have it's going to be a really good show.
Oh, that's
So
excellent.
yeah, make sure you tune in for that. All right, so yeah, we've learned a bit about Mike now. I think we're all on board with what he's doing, and sounds all good to me. So why don't we get stuck into Deepwell, and you can tell us a bit about it, and I'll kind of just scroll down through the campaign as you go.
Yeah, I'd love to, man. Okay. I'll cover the elevator pitch, and then we'll go a little bit more in depth with the whole thing. So,
It's your show, buddy. You drive it.
You got it, man. The elevator pitch is what happened the day the Lone Ranger rode into Deadwood. The longer pitch is it's the story of the Block family who run the town of Deepwell behind the scenes with an iron grip. They're evil, corrupt, and everyone lives in fear of their power and authority. One day, a masked vigilante, the Gray Devil, rides into town, and it's like adding fire to kerosene. He's dead set on taking down the blocks one by one, and nothing's going to get in his way until the job is done. Deepwell is one part grim family drama, one part superhero vigilante action story, and one part hyper-violent Western thriller. It's drawn by Rafael Dantas with colors by me. The base perk comes in at $15, and as I say with all of our campaigns, we'd love to have everyone listening come along for the ride. If you're into Deadwood, Unforgiven, The Wild Bunch, or Tarantino's Westerns, this is the book for you.
Fantastic. Unforgiven is my favorite.
Oh, nice. Yes,
That's on my list of movies that I will always watch until I depart this earth.
Yes, I totally agree.
I've never actually seen Deadwood, and people, tell me I'm an idiot, but I don't have time.
I'm not going to say you're an idiot, but you should watch that show, man. Like that is a hell of a thing. But to be fair,
and because I'm such a fan of the genre as well, so yeah.
Right, but to be fair, I still haven't seen the movie that they did. What was it, last year? So,
I didn't even know there was a movie. Okay, I'm so out of the loop.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds excellent. You know what movie I also... Well, I don't know if a story that I love is Wyatt Earp. And I like anything that has to do with Wyatt Earp. I don't care if it's even bad. What I liked about Wyatt Earp is the whole family side of it. His whole family is involved.
Sure.
It does have a bit of that family drama stuff to it. So when you mentioned that kind of piqued my interest as well. Felix Haas agrees Deadwood is great. Yeah, I mean, everyone says it is. And guys, it's hard when you're doing stuff.
I get you, man. I get you. My backlog of shows and books, for that matter, is like an entire bookcase. So I get you. Yeah,
when I was learning to write the Lucent, I was just reading and buying books all the time. And eventually, I was like, okay, well, I've got to actually, put a bit more effort into the writing here. And that backlog is still sitting there almost a decade later. Like, I'll get to them one day. I'm sure it'll be good because I love reading, but reading takes even more time than watching a TV show.
Yeah, because at least like we have a 2-year-old, and it's like at least at the end of the day, once he's in bed, and we have a few minutes before we have to start our workday at like 11 at night, we can at least take a few minutes and watch like a 20 to 40 minute show and like make some headway. But like to like sit down and be like, I'm just gonna read for an hour, it's like that can't happen these days.
Yeah, no, you find out. I mean, you really do sacrifice a lot of your old life when you have those kids.
Right.
We've got a 2-year-old as well, and we've also got an 8-year-old. And it's obviously you gain so much more, but you do also have to give up some other things.
Yeah.
And then, that just is what it is. I like, so you did the coloring on this because that's what I wanted to talk about. I've not seen this. You've put it like a halftone pattern in the backgrounds here. That's great. It just fits the genre, and it makes the characters in the front pop out.
Exactly.
It's really good a really good use of that. So well done on that.
Yeah, thanks for noticing.
Makes the scenes a lot grittier too.
Yeah.
Sure, man.
Yeah.
With the Gods Fear Me, what I'm doing with that is basically, I want the pages to drip neon, and I kind of with Deepwell, I wanted to go the exact opposite and like pull everything back and go as simple and as Golden Age and Pulp Age as I could, and just the idea of like what I was doing actually was I was studying some of Charlie Adler's work on Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
he'll do this interesting thing where the figures in the foreground are just stark black and white, no shading, whatever. And then to make them pop, he'll do gray tones in the background.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, well, if the whole book has to be color, how can I kind of modify that? And the idea of solid colors set against halftones kind of stuck in my head.
Yeah, another good book that does really well with separating foreground and background characters is The Watchmen.
Yes,
They use a lot of really interesting techniques. It's not for my book. I've gone in a completely different direction, but yeah, if you're going for that more traditional style, it works a treat. But yeah, you really you have captured that just that halftone print, that halftone effect. It just evokes that older printing style, even though it's actually a replication of that older printing style. It fits in. I know that the Magic Cop with Phil, the Zaid comics, they used different effects for Magic Cop that fit with that story.
Right.
So it's cool to see people trying interesting things. You clearly don't have a house style for your Murphyverse. It's like whatever fits the story, whatever best helps tell the story.
Yeah, and I mean, look, realistically, depending on how many more books we start doing over the next 2 or 3 years, I don't know that I'll be able to color all of them. So eventually I'm gonna have to start bringing on full teams besides just the artist. But for the time being, if I'm gonna be the colorist, I kind of want each of these books to feel unique and be their own thing.
Yeah. We've got Sim in the house. How you going, Sim? Mogwai Centurion's here. Ryan Miller Art. He says, "What's happening, CG? We are looking at
he had to show up. Okay.
Hey, everybody.
Be nice to the chat, Bandito.
I am. That is me being nice to the chat.
Okay.
So I got questions. I'm looking at this book and I'm thinking, okay, is he a demon? He's got a noose around his neck? Was he hanged? Does he is there a vendetta he's got against the block, or are they just evil and he needs to purge evil? Can you give me something here?
Hang on, I'm looking at his mask. Is he worried about COVID at all? Is that what's going on there?
Yeah, is that what this is? Very topical
book.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I can give you some stuff, but there's a lot of spoiler stuff you're kind of asking in there. Let's see what we can do. As far as the supernatural thing, no, this is very much rooted in reality. Yeah, demonic red gun. No, the red guns, the red revolvers were forged and crafted by the Grey Devil. They're not supernatural. He's not supernatural. There are no otherworldly elements to the book. Yes, he has a noose. So to get into the design of the Grey Devil, we kind of wanted to evoke all of the masked Western and pulp figures. So there's, obviously a bit of the Lone Ranger in there. There's a bit of the Shadow. I mean, there's a bit of any hooded masked figure you can think of from pop culture. We kind of wanted to throw a little bit in there. Basically, the revolvers, the noose, and other aspects of his costume, even the gray jacket itself. A lot of this stuff is going to be explained in the prequel novel titled "The Grey Devil and the Cemetery of Forgotten Deeds."
Oh, so now we get to our perk here. Basically, the only perk that's worth getting has to have the prequel in it. So we got the book and the prequel, and then we got the swag, the book prequel, and swag.
Yeah.
Well, hang on,
Basically,
let's go through them quickly. 1 sec.
all right.
Sure.
I still got more questions.
Yeah, we'll get back to your questions. We've got plenty of time. So, book, prequel, and swag.
Yeah. So this is, like I always set the swag bag as the featured perk. You're going to get all of the main story. You're going to get the book and the prequel, but you're also going to be getting a map of Deepwell drawn by Raphael. All the character design work that Raphael's done, we're going to do those as a 7 trading card set. You're also going to be getting a print of Myra Block. She's the eldest of the Block family, the siblings. That's going to be drawn by Vinny Tartamella, and you're going to get a print of the Grey Devil by John Malin.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
How's
some
the
good artwork.
booty? How's the booty going to go in this kind of old timey clothing? I wonder with Vinny Tartamella. He's going to try and get it in there
Booty
somehow.
for miles.
Yeah, look, she's wearing kind of like a super poofy, bottom skirt, but her top is very cleavage heavy, so he'll at least be able to rock that a little bit.
Okay. So you've got the one physical copy. And that's $15 for 32 pages. Excellent. That's a very good price. And you can get 2 copies, $25. So you get a little $5 discount for 2 copies. And I presume, does that have the same shipping as well?
Yeah.
As the one copy. All right. So that's a huge discount for, say, someone who's didn't mean to do that. Sorry.
Oh, don't dox yourself.
No, I'm always making sure I'm logged out now before I go live, so there's no doxing happening. Okay, here we go. And then you've got the book and prequel.
Right.
And that's a 22-page dime store novel.
Yeah, so again, going back to God's Fear Me real quick, what we came up with for that was we wanted kind of an old pulp novel horror feel, because the whole thing has a bunch of Lovecraftian overtones to it, and we wanted to carry that forward into Deepwell and kind of go even further back and go to the penny novels or the dime store novels. And so it's going to be prose, but it's also going to have spot illustrations throughout the book.
Excellent. Yep, and that's only $30. And then you've got a support the troops thing. You've got 2 to you and 3 to them. Cool.
Exactly. Yeah. This, we've been doing the support the troops tier since Samurai and Dinosaurs, and it always seems to work out, well for everybody. So, as long as it keeps selling and, helping out people, we'll keep doing them in our campaigns.
Nice.
Excellent. And you've already got one of them claimed, so more to come, I'm sure. What's Droga's Blanco special?
Okay, so back with God's Fear Me, I decided that I was going to have an $872 tier for all of our campaigns moving forward. The one for God's Fear Me was the Schemes and Scams perk, and and this is the White Drug special.
That's a deep cut, Mike.
It's a deep cut, and it's one that I was right in the middle of. So, certain individuals kind of tried to make an example out of me, and so I'm always going to incorporate it into the campaign.
It's sort of like your little moniker thing for your brand.
Exactly.
Now.
Yeah.
Well, people like that. People like having a little bit of whimsy in there with the people that they follow and they back.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. All right, what are your questions, Bandito? You had some more.
The other thing that I was looking at, I mean, this guy, he's throwing a what's it called? A compass, the Great Devil,
the weather vane.
Yeah, he's throwing the weather vane compass thing through the window, impaling this guy, and we're expected to believe that the Block family actually has a chance against him. I mean, what do they have in their back pocket to be able to stop this guy?
Okay, I can go a bit into this. So yeah, the Grey Devil is systematically trying to take down the entire Block family, and this is the way the story is going to be told. Is it's going to kind of jump around time periods. something like a Nolan story or like a Tarantino story. But we will have chapter headings and years at the start of each chapter, so like you don't get too lost. But this is the start of him openly trying to take them down, and he's going after Thomas Block first, and he's going after Thomas Block because he's the weakest, and he's also the head of like all financial and banking stuff in Deepwell. So if you're going to go after basically a criminal enterprise, you start by taking out the money. Now from here, I mean, things are going to like ramp up drastically in terms of difficulty for the Gray Devil. I mean, the day that he's picking, like it's a lot of shock and awe, and like they don't see it coming. But from here on out, like they're going to double and triple down. And the matriarch of the family, Mama Claire, like she's not going to let anything happen to her or the rest of her kids.
I gotcha. The vibe I'm actually getting from this is if the Lone Ranger was V.
Yeah.
From Vendetta.
Yeah, man. So that's an excellent point that I haven't been able to talk about with anyone yet. So when you think about the mythology,
yes, I totally nailed it.
You start talking about V, my ears perk up. Let's go. What are we saying?
When you look at the mythology of the Lone Ranger, I mean, he's basically analogous to like, I don't know, like a Superman or Captain America figure. Like he's very
100%.
He's very much on the virtuous side of things. And there's you want to talk about deep cuts. There's a shot in Road to Perdition where like the sons of the main character are reading dime store novels in bed when they should be sleeping, and they're reading this Lone Ranger story where like he's climbing through a window. And that was kind of one of those first moments of like, man, what if there was like if we have the Superman analogy, what if we had like a Batman or Punisher or V, like that version of this type of Western anti-hero / vigilante.
Did something just happen?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, something happened to the microphone. I don't know, I had some weird funny sound.
Okay, so anyway, like that was kind of the genesis, and I kind of wanted to root the Gray Devil in the idea of like, what if we had the story of like a more, I mean, he definitely is on the anti-hero side of the spectrum when it comes to these characters, but like, what if there was a darker, like, take no shit version of the Lone Ranger?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm down.
Like Punisher version of Lone Ranger.
Very, very much so.
Yeah. But no, like the thing with V2 is like you don't immediately know the reason that he is got the passion and the motivation that he has, just like the Gray Devil here. And he's going after some aristocratic types, just like V for Vendetta was. And no, I get a heavy sense that it's a deep, meaningful storyline in the same way. It looks you got some of that same surface stuff, but V went super deep.
Sure.
You kind of have some of that surface stuff here too, and it's just like this. I could see this potentially going.
Well, he's giving you a hint there. He's called the town Deepwell.
Yeah, there we go. Like I said in my tweet, this sounds like it's the answer to all the riddles.
Is this an ongoing thing, Mike?
It's like I'm planning all of our books for the foreseeable future to be 3 volumes. So there will be 2 more sequels, and hopefully with each sequel we can increase the page count a little bit. So I'm hoping for book 2 it can be 48 pages.
Yep.
But yeah, it's very much a finite thing. I'm hoping at the end, like we'll have like a decent 150-ish page story.
Nice. What's going on with you and Joe King, Bandito? You've been challenged to a duel.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I don't know. Is it really a challenge? Is it really a challenge on the other end? I mean,
have you seen this guy's arsenal?
Sure, but all I need to beat him is a fork and knife. So
Oh, the gauntlet has been dropped apparently.
exactly. So no, I
We're
mean,
gonna have to
don't
get
get me
you guys on
wrong.
to take it
I
out.
respect a well grilled steak.
I saw you
So-
guys on Twitter exchanging meat.
barbs, exchanging barbs. No meat was exchanged.
Is this going to be the next, is this going to be the next Fraga 6 a.m. beef?
Oh,
Hey,
I don't
hey.
know.
I
It
don't know.
depends. It depends if Joe can get off the barbecue. I mean,
They were. I was just on watching Greater Point Five's show. They had Joe on, and yeah, they were looking at some very beefy bulls over there with their big muscles and low-hanging balls.
oh my.
Yeah, like we said, always gay, never late.
Yeah.
Oh, like he says, you've gone too far. Prepare to get skewered
Oh no, don't worry. I'll come
With
back. I
some,
mean, I can't get too far from the table.
with some nice vegetables in between, hopefully.
There we go. So
Some nice sauces. Felix is in here dropping links like a champion. Subscribe to Mike Murphy on Twitter.
Thanks so much.
There's still first printing leftovers of Samurai and Dinosaurs.
There you go.
And yeah. So this book, we got 23 days left on this, and you got a bit to go on your fixed goal. But yeah, you
is
get
this
out
our
there, you're gonna
first
make it.
month? I missed that earlier. We
Yeah,
did.
you just went live the other week.
Yeah, so first month, and yeah, like we got a bit of ground to cover yet. I'm definitely going to be hustling pretty hard over the next like 2 to 3 weeks.
Yep.
Nice.
Have you got any shows lined up already?
Yeah, so far tomorrow I'm going to be on with Critical Blast, and then I'm trying to secure a couple things for the weekend.
Yeah, RJ's cool. He just hit me up. He gave me a good line. I thought I was getting like picked up at a bar. Like never met the guy before, and I just get this message. We followed each other on Twitter, but he just says, "You've got a book, I've got a show. It's a match made in heaven." Something like that.
That's smooth.
It was smooth. I've actually used it on some other people, and I'm passing it on.
Well, to double back real quick, to like answer without answering Smiling's like other point, whereas like in V, kind of his identity isn't important because he's supposed to represent the people.
Yeah.
The identity of the Gray Devil is very, very integral to the overall story of DEEPWELL. There is a reason that this masked vigilante is going so hard after the Block family, and there is a reason why he's trying to liberate this town.
Nice.
I'm just suspecting it might have something to do with the noose around his head, but that might be completely wrong. But you've put it there for a reason. That's not just your everyday accoutrement that someone goes around with.
Right.
Unless you're Jussie Smollett, of course.
Right. Then it's purely for decoration.
And then it would be what did he have? A clothes? What was it, a Y he got from Walmart or something?
Right.
Subway. He got a.
Right.
Yeah.
Once it's Subway at 2
Hang
in the
on,
morning.
I got to scroll down. Is there any Subway footlongs in his hand? No, it's all clear.
Yeah. No sponsorship.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
excellent. I'm happy to see more westerns. It's sort of, man, like westerns ruled for the longest time, and then it just kind of, I don't know. So people they're like they don't want to see them anymore on movies. I was watching a thing like saying how the western died. I'm like, that is so. I don't know why, because it was so good. Unforgiven is so good. I want to see more of this stuff.
Yeah, I think about that a lot too. And like I say this a lot. Like, there's a quote from Guillermo del Toro. He talks about like how he's a glutton for entertainment, and like I'm kind of the same. Like, I'm not that person who's like, oh, I'm not into horror movies or I'm not into like crime or whatever. Like, I like all of it. So I understand that westerns are kind of a niche thing, and I knew that going into DEEPWELL. I knew that it might be kind of an uphill battle with like a certain percentage of the audience. But I don't know, man. Like if there's a story you want to tell, you just gotta go for it and like hope that the audience finds you.
Yeah, I mean, zombies are the same. People really don't like zombie stories. I think
Right.
it's oversaturation, though. It's from a different side. It's just like we're sick of zombies. So yeah, if you've got a good western, you might pick up the other people who are craving for it, and there aren't that many out there.
Yeah, I'm always down for more westerns. Like I don't know what it is. Like it's a weird thing. Whereas like, is it tied to westerns are of a certain era in America or just the world in general? Like once we entered the 70s, like were people just collectively like, I'm done with westerns? I don't know what it is.
It may have been over. There may have been westerns back in the 70s and 60s became like zombie movies for us in the 90s and 2000. It was just like it's just too much,
Right.
and then people are still reeling from that. But there's scenes in westerns that are just so iconic. You think of the classic Mexican standoff. You've got the saloon scenes. I love that scene in Wyatt Earp where he goes in and slaps that guy's like drinking and scaring away all the customers in the gambling area, and he slaps him across the face, and he's got just the best lines. He's like, "Are you gonna?" What does he say? Are you gonna? Oh, man, I wish I could remember it because it's so good. And the guy just shrinks because he's actually finally come up against a real man for the first time.
Right. And I mean, like I just because Selena, my wife, had never seen Tombstone, so I just watched that with her last year. And like
Yeah.
there are so many iconic moments in Tombstone, and we just picked up the 4K version of Quick and the Dead like a month ago. And to just see like Sam Raimi just like be like a kid and do this like over the top dumb western, like it's so good, man. I don't know why more people don't dig on westerns.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily people don't like them. It's what the industry thinks that they can sell.
Sure.
And when we think about like how many stories are actually out there, the westerns were a lot of the stories were taken from older samurai movies previously, right? And then I mean, even now the superhero movies, some of them are copying the westerns from back.
Sure.
Right? And the thing is like the entertainment industry is actually, it's still kind of brand new. Like we haven't actually gone through a full cycle of what was old is new again. We haven't gotten back to the slapstick humor that made silent movies so appreciated. That hasn't come back into fashion yet, but it will eventually. Like there will be a time when it's like those are the stories that people want to hear. And I don't know if we'll ever have the dominance like we've seen with like the Marvel universe and that kind of thing again, of any one type of movie, but we really haven't cycled through and like started again with those old stories. So
yeah, I think part of it too is it's that whole red letter media thing of like when it comes to like just the casual audience goer or casual reader, like you might have not recognized it but your brain did. Like I think with a lot of the audience, they on a subconscious level can just tell when something is just more of the same. And so I think like one of the things I try to approach genre with is like with western, and like I do have a zombie idea actually. Like I try to give the audience something slightly new that's still respectful of what's come before. And so I think a lot of the trick is just coming up with a new spin and a new take that still, pays respect to that older stuff as well.
Yeah.
So I found it. He's staring down the dude, and he says, "Go ahead, you skin that smoke wagon, and we'll see what happens. I'm getting tired of all your gas. Jerk that pistol and go to work." And the dude just stands there. I love it. I love it. And we've also got "I'm Your Huckleberry" as well.
Yes.
When Doc comes out. Oh,
Right.
so good. All right, we're nearly up. We've got like 5 minutes left. I have to keep to a pretty strict schedule on my what are they called? Lunch hour streams. Thanks everyone for coming and hanging out. Thank you, Mike, for coming and showing off your wonderful comic book,
It
DEEPWELL.
looks fantastic. As I say, every book deserves to be seen, but it's up to the creator to show it deserves to be backed. And this looks, I'm really, really interested in this. This looks really good.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
And check this out. 400 backers on the
Yeah.
Lucent.
Hey,
Congratulations, man.
Whoop, whoop.
that is
Yeah,
fantastic.
Thank you. I sent out a tweet yesterday. We've got 3 little milestones coming up, and that's one of them, 400 backers. And there was, look at that. I don't know if you can see that, 29,500 Australian dollar dues.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So we're closing in on 30K, which is, oh my God. That's the first time I've ever said that out loud. That's incredible. That's like how much our car cost. Although I was talking to Antoine, was in here earlier. I'm not sure if he still is. I was talking to Antoine earlier. I'm sure he won't mind if I mentioned this. We were talking about shipping, and I was like, yeah, the shipping bill for all these books is closing in on 10K.
Wow.
So that's that's 10,000 Australian.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Why, Johnny Ringo? You look like somebody walked over your grave. Oh, I love that movie. So good.
I can't remember which one it was, but one guy said, "I'm going to take this here right foot and I'm going to put it on upside the left side of your face."
And I love how in westerns, say Unforgiven, that the British guy comes, and everyone's like, "Ooh, this guy's the best. He's like a real gunslinger." And then Gene Hackman just like pimp smacks him when he comes to town. And I love that shit.
Yeah.
And
that ride of shame out of town in the wagon, all beat up.
Yeah. Billy Jack.
Yes, that's what it was.
We're all fans. Love
Yeah.
it. Man, that scene at the end where he comes in and he says, he shoots that dude. He's like, "You're a cowardly son of a bitch. You just shot an unarmed man." And he just says he shouldn't have decorated his saloon with my friend.
Oh, so good.
Oh, I love it. And another milestone. We're like so close to getting 1,000% funded.
That's
Oh, Rob.
crazy.
Yes, Rob, 400. Can you believe it? You must have seen. I don't know. I've been shouting it out everywhere. Hopefully, you saw Heels versus Babyface promoted the Lucent for a good 3 minutes on one of his videos, and yeah, it's got like 50,000-60,000 views on it or something. So yeah,
That's crazy.
thanks so much, man. Yeah, it's nuts. And I'm working on the print. I've decided on what I'm going to be doing for the print for the 25K stretch goal. So as soon as there's something sort of comes into form that I can show you, I'll show that. And yeah, that'll be the 25K stretch goal. And also I showed this on RGE's channel yesterday. I've put in a couple more pages.
They look so good. I haven't had the chance to talk to you about them, but
So this is Ella in her normal everyday life. That's where she works, at this little secondhand bookshop, and that secondhand bookshop is actually based on a real place from my childhood. I used to tell my mum to make me go out there, and they had comic books, and they had old comic books, and I would just like sit down on the floor, kind of like she is here, and just go through their comic books. And I bought so many of my back issues from that place. Unfortunately, they closed down, but that was played a big part in my sort of when I was a kid, reading comics and everything. And yeah, she's working here. As you can see, she's just a lowly shop assistant by day. It's sounding a bit like Clark Kent. And that's her boss there, getting a smooch with her boyfriend. And yeah, so it's good to show a bit of just a normal life, so that the crazy has a bit of contrast to go with. Which is down here. A bit of crazy for you.
There you go.
Man, someone's having a bad day.
You've seen Isham, just that little thing, but now you kind of get to see him. He just sort of pops in and does what he wants. And yeah, I lettered that as well. So it's another finished page. And
Nice.
yeah. So there you go.
Well done. Like I said, good creators will find their audience, and you got a great product here. So
For sure.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
and your audience is lining up. Oh my goodness.
It's crazy. I would never have imagined 400 backers. That's just that's insane.
Yeah.
So guys,
It's all good.
Keep
Keep going.
I got to say goodbye. Thanks again, Mike. It's been great to meet you and talk to you. It's funny that we've kind of rolled around in the same hay bales for so long without actually coming into contact with each other.
It's been great, man.
Yeah. So we'll definitely have you on again. You're a really good guest, and we'll be looking to see the how DEEPWELL progresses. It's looking pretty cool. Antoine says he's dreading. Yeah, I know it does. But I've tried to keep it as small as possible. But that's just the.
You almost want an unlettered copy.
you probably be a bit lost. Into the minutia. You might be able to get a bit of a feel of the story, but yeah, you'll miss all the minutia, unfortunately.
I might be lost, but I'll love every minute of it.
That's good to know. All right, it's always great to have you here, Bandito. Unfortunately, Poland and Blue couldn't make it today, but I'm sure they send their regards. And Hal the chat, and we'll see you tomorrow with Dan Frager and Will Perdomo. That's going to be so cool.
Awesome.
See you guys.
Goodness. Now I can take this avatar off.